Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel. And I think it might be time to admit I've got a Haynes manual problem. So I'm not that much of a hoarder, I have inherited these, but let's get them down off the wall before we have a big avalanche, and I'll tell you where they come from. The things we do for thumbnails. The best advice I give anyone with any task, and something I often quote on the channel, is knowledge is power. And before the internet, this was knowledge. All on paper, in books, and in the automotive world, the knowledge came in the form of a Haynes manual. When we cleared out the old Auto Shack building, all of this stuff was getting chucked out. So I thought I'd save it and go through a little bit of history here. So before the internet, even before computer systems, everything was logged down in a manual. Every car had its own Haynes manual, and that had every single torque setting, wiring diagram, everything you need to work on your car. We have got modern books, we have got old original book, engine test data from 1974. We've got Snap-on technical data, 1985, Snap-on carburetor manual. Some of these are really old editions. We've got Austin Allegro here, and if you look at the latest copyright, this one, 1978. Got the Rover, slightly later, 1980 to 82, and they still carried on making them. Here's a more recent one, Mondeo, 1996. So I'm quite interested to go through and see how old some of these are. 1982, so this one's a 1981, but this is pristine. Fiat Panda, Toyota Corona, 1975 this one is. So this book is nearly 50 years old now, which is crazy. These were more for the home DIY mechanic, and if you had a brain cell, everything you need in there. You can see this one, very well used. Braking system, rear axle, prop shaft, gearbox. So these manuals went so in depth, you could rebuild your own gearbox, rebuild your own engine, rebuild an oil pump. What Haynes did, they got a brand new car, completely stripped it down and pictured it and documented it all the way through. So Haynes really did conquer the market. It wasn't uncommon. If you bought a car, one of these would be in the boot to come with it, or if there wasn't, it'd be the first trip down to Halfords to buy one. But before that, way before my time, there was quite a lot of competitors, and we've got a lot of them here as well. And here are all the competitors. So Autodata is a very common name, still used today in garages, but now they are on a computer screen. But this is exactly the same as what is in these books. So this is a 2006 timing gears, and it shows you how to do the timing on every single timing chain vehicle. Opel, Vauxhall, Toyota, and these diagrams are still exactly what you get on the screen these days. Got body repair times for light and commercial vehicles. So this is used for estimates. So we've got Ford, Escort, how long to remove the complete front bumper, 0.3 hours. On an 81 to 86, on an 86 to 90, it took 0.4 hours. And these are still all the same graphs, all the same times as you get on the modern Autodata now. It's obviously all on a computer screen. But they still did do all the Haynes style manuals for every car, and everything you need for that car in there. And some of these, as you can see, have barely been used. But in other ones, there's often little notes you find, valve clearances, inlet exhaust, distributor. And these kind of things were done so regularly, you just made a little note in the front of the manual so you didn't have to search through it. A little relay wiring diagram there, someone was obviously using at the time. So that's Autodata along the front. Then you had something called Auto Book, very much the same, all the way through, exploded diagrams of everything. So Cortina, Triumph, Austin Allegro, Jaguar XJ6, Maxi, Hunter. So that was another edition, Auto Books. And then you had Auto Express Limited, Vauxhall Viva, Austin Morris. Again, all exactly the same kind of stuff. We've got Polski Fiat here from Poland. So this looks more like a main dealer manual. Everything that you need for your Fiat. Over here, we've got the Snap-on tools, technical data. So this again was a workshop, much like the Autodata we use now, giving all the torque settings, all the valve clearances of every single car, little tips. snap-on carburetor manual, and this just had instructions on how to rebuild everything you can imagine. All the car makes there at the top: Datsun, Fiat, Honda, Renault, Rover. So we've got the very familiar SU carbs there. So we've got what they were fitted to, all the adjustment data, how to rebuild them, how to set up clearances, how to strip them down, how needle seats were assembled. And this is an entire book just on carburetors. So really, this is just a piece of history that isn't any good to anyone except for enthusiasts like us. We've got a few main dealer ones as well. We've got Morris 1100, British Leyland 1800, and these are binder folders, all the same: how to lap in valves, pistons, clutches, wheel bearings, all the dimensions of the car, vertical alignment check, all the specialist main dealer repair tools. That's all the jig settings, so when you plumb it on the floor. But these were the main dealer ones. Additional copies of this publication can only be obtained from a Morris distributor. Same again. Got a GM Bedford Rascal service manual. These ones look a little bit more primitive. Look like they've come off a typewriter. Even got an Audi one into Europe. So when Great Britain started importing the Germans. So this manual is 1973. Again, all the same photographs. We've got a couple more over there. A Chamis Mark II, whatever that is. But we've got all the data for it. Got an ICI Auto Colour Refinishes Handbook from 1983. So state of the art paint schemes. Got a Maestro, got a Sierra, a Cavalier, colour cards, how to paint a car, start from the top, work round. So this looks something like you just get in a body shop today, 40 years later. And we've got this Chilton's repair and tune-up guide for all the BMWs 1970 to 82. Seems to cover the whole range with 16 full colour pages. So this is just general tips. Oh, there's some colour. So that's another brand. But at the end of the day, this is just a load of forgotten history. A lot of people still do use the Haynes manuals. I know my dad will be watching this, and he is a regular Haynes manual Bible user. Still got all the ones for his cars, all the little notes, just like the ones we found here. It is easy enough for us just to go on Google on our phone. Within 15 seconds, you've got the answer. But for someone like my dad, without a smartphone, he'd much prefer having this piece of paper sitting there next to him, like a lot of other people. And that's what I've been brought up with. Some things technology just can't replace. I've still got all the manuals of all the cars I've ever had. I've got my own little library in here. So we'll go right back to my first Vauxhall Nova. I've got two editions of the Nova manual. My Vauxhall Vectra GSI, Cavaliers GSI. I had a B6 A4, so they still did modern stuff as well. But you can see the difference in size between the A4 manual and the Nova manual. A lot more information in there for a lot more stuff. Peugeot 306, Mark II and Mark III Astras, of course. Then I've got a couple of Sierra manuals, because of course the kit car is all Sierra based, so all the torque settings, bearings, everything else, all the running gear is Sierra. Oh yeah, and talking of kit car, Haynes also did build your own sports car on a budget. This is what I was originally going to do before I got my GBS chassis, and this just tells you how to build a chassis from scratch. And even I've got all my notes in here, what I was going to do. So it just shows you how to build a pedal box, how to build the arms, everything in here of how to build your kit car from scratch. And that was the Haynes Roadster. And then going back even further, Haynes also teamed up with Max Power. Some of you will remember these from back in the day. This is what I used to read in my teenage years. So these were about how to mod your car. Still based on the real car, how to debadge your car, beasting aerials, fitting a sun strip, and they were still based on stripping down a real car. How to smooth your tailgate, doing all the work yourself. Suspension based on a real Vauxhall Nova. How to fit neons. And they did build this car for real. And then I went on to build my Max Power Nova. Here's my car from back in the day when I got my license from reading this book. And the man behind the brand was John Haynes. In 1956, when he was still at school, he published his first book documenting building a special based on an Austin 7. While he was in the Air Force, he published two further books, and then in 1960 he set up the J.H. Haynes & Co. Limited Company. His first book was titled The Haynes Workshop Manual. In 1965 he published his first car-specific manual, and that was on the Austin Sprite. Each manual was actually based on a real car. They bought it at the beginning, stripped it all the way down to a bare shell, documented everything on the way, and then built it all back together, sold it on afterwards. The actual workshop phase only took about 4 weeks, but to create it into a book took 2 authors 20 to 30 weeks for every single manual. Once the cars were all back together, they were then test drove for about 4 weeks after, just to make sure everything is back together right. So who knows, you could actually have one of the very dismantled Haynes manual cars. And don't forget, if you do want to look as cool as me, the Super On merch is all on the YouTube shop. Got t-shirts, hoodies, caddy crew, so check them out below as well. And here they all are in alphabetical order. You can see there are some clear winners. Ford definitely has the bigger pile there, followed closely by all the Austins, British Leylands and the British stuff. Rover has also got a big pile. This one's Citroen, the rest are pretty evenly matched. Renault's got quite a big pile there. So let's open these up and see if I can find anything interesting. Even got an engine management one here, which is purely on teaching you what engine management. This was back in the day when people didn't know what ECUs were. Idle control valves, fuel injectors, giving you the overview of all of it. Very interesting. This one, 2005, so fuel injection for the DIY mechanic was still pretty new. And this 340 manual, this was owned by Mr. Bennett in October 1984. And it is a 1984 edition, so he signed this. No one was going to be stealing Mr. Bennett's manual. And in this 740 manual, this guy noted down his tyre sizes, 185, 70, 14. Just found in this Austin Ambassador a newspaper clipping from Classic Car Weekly, September the 30th, 1992. 32 years ago. And that's on an article on the Princess. That must have meant something to the owner, so that can stay with the book. In this BMW 3 Series 1, we've actually got an official sticker. Bob didn't want his manual going missing. He's got his full address and phone number in that one. And there they are, all in order. So the oldest Haynes manual I found was this Honda Civic at 1975. There were a few older ones. This Audi one, 1973 there. Quite a few from the 70s, but the one that has got first place is this Austin Morris by Auto Express. That one is 1971. So this one is 53 years old. Certainly the granddad of the collection. And here are all the Haynes manuals. Let's run through them. Audi 100, Alfa Romeo Alfa Sard, Alfetta, BMW 3 Series, Austin Ambassador, Austin Avenger, Austin Allegro, Maestro, Maxi, Mini, Metro, Princess, 1100, Citroens, BX, CX, GS, Visa, ZX, Fiat Strada, 126, Panda. Got the Fords, Cortina, Ford Orion, Escort, Fiesta, Mondeo, Ford Granada Scorpio, Honda Civic, Hillman Hunter, Land Rover Defender, Mazda 323, Morris Minor, Morris Marina, Ital, Datsun Sunny, Datsun Cherry, Nissan Micra, Peugeot 205, 405, Renault 4, 5, 14, 8, 20, 21, 25 Laguna, Freight Rover Sherpa, Rover 2000, Rover 2300, Rover 3500, 213, 820, 75, Toyota Corona, Talbot Horizon, Alpine, Horizon, Samba, Triumph 1500, Triumph 800, Vauxhall Astra, Chevette, Colton, Cavalier, Vauxhall Victor, Volvo 240, 260, 340, 740 and 740. So that is 107 Haynes manuals here. We've got 24 of the other makes. So along with my manuals I've got in my library, that is 150 pieces of literature from a forgotten time. And unfortunately, they are not going to be produced again. In 2020, Haynes was bought out by InfoPro Digital for £114 million. A nice tidy profit for Mr. Haynes, but they're digital by name and digital by nature. So since 2020, no books have been produced. You can still get the manuals online, but there is no such thing as a hardback Haynes manual anymore. So now I've got to work out what to do with all these. I don't think it's worth listing them all individually on eBay one by one, but if you've seen one in this that you're short of from your collection, or if you've got a rare car and you've spotted the number that you need here, drop me a message. Leave down in the comments any memories you've had from using Haynes manuals from back in the day. But it has been a nice trip down memory lane, and seeing all the little notes and comments that the owners left in their manuals to remind them what they were doing. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. Hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you give it a like. Let me know if you want this collection. But until next time, make sure you have fun.